I'll be determining this in the next week or so. But just to give kind of a sneak peek about what the two raises that we're reviewing are. One of them is a protocol that essentially allows people to issue their own stable coins, and it's interesting. It's essentially it allows people to create their own over collateralized stable coins. So I don't want to get too much into it, but it's actually a pretty interesting project, and the people that developed it also developed a pretty major exchange that's been active and functional and doing really well since like 2015. So they're major players in the space, and it's a decent idea. It's an idea that I can get behind. You know, it might not be something that I would develop, but it's something that, because it actually, some of the elements to it are have a little bit to do with something that I want to develop that I think I can really like take to the next level. But anyways, it's a project that has a good team behind it, and the idea is worth getting behind, I feel. And the other one is even more crazy. It's I don't know. You know, do you know Napster? Do you remember Napster?
No.
Okay, well, this is another thing that people will know what I'm talking about when I talk about Napster. Napster was the first major torrent software. So it was mostly focused around music. They got sued by like Metallica. Anyways, this is kind of like early internet lore. But the developer of Napster, and of course, torrents are a form of decentralized technology that really became popular before cryptocurrency. So this is someone that was developing decentralized networks before DeFi existed. And what he has developed is a stablecoin that functions on the Lightning Network that allows people to swap trustlessly in and out of Bitcoin into a stablecoin on the Lightning Network, you know, trustlessly in a decentralized fashion. And the reason why this is so huge is because right now, if you have Bitcoin and you want to take profit, you either need to use a centralized exchange to swap for a stablecoin, which is a taxable event, which means you have to hand your keys over to a centralized exchange, and it's depending on where you live, you can end up paying 40% of the profit you made in taxes, or you know, and if it's a stable coin, you have to get to a completely other network. You have to either go into, you know, the ERC20 network or the BEP20 network, and either keep that capital on a centralized exchange where they have your keys, or remove it to a completely other network. Or you have to cash out into fiat, which almost always means full KYC, stocking yourself, taxes, and now fees to get out, and now your money's not in crypto anymore, and it can be difficult to get in and out of crypto, especially if you're trying to do it in a way that's you're not paying high fees and you're not doxing yourself. What this allows for is for you to do essentially an on-chain swap from Bitcoin to a stablecoin. And the way that the U.S. tax structure works is, if you do a swap on-chain, meaning you never leave the network, the U.S. tax code treats that as if you never left the asset. So it's not a taxable event. So this will allow people to remove exposure to Bitcoin and take profit on Bitcoin without leaving the network, without it being a taxable event, and without needing to give your keys over to some centralized exchange or dox yourself. It's huge. It's huge. And from what I've been, from the research I've done, if anybody's going to be able to pull something like this off, it's the developer of Napster, who's been developing decentralized networks since before DeFi existed. So they're looking to raise capital as well. I believe they raised a couple million through some venture capitalist firms already. And yeah, essentially I had a mutual, someone that I know that is a operator at one of the VCs. One of the same people who I got the Acquirify deal from, a different VC group, but one of the same mutuals come to me, and they're looking to raise capital. They're looking to raise capital from someone that is that understands and is tied into DeFi. So, that's huge, right? That is huge. That's going to be one of the biggest things to hit Bitcoin in a long time. And probably the biggest thing to hit Bitcoin since the Lightning Network itself. And it actually gives people a reason to use the Lightning Network. So, and there's so many other implications. There's the implications of being able to now price things in UST, do retail, so allow people to buy and sell products and services priced in USDT, instantly confirmed with the Lightning Network, and then at the end of the block, it confirms on the main Bitcoin blockchain. It's really what Bitcoin needs to kind of go to the next level, I feel, for mainstream adoption. And this is potentially something we could raise capital for in the DAO. They're interested in us doing it. And the main kind of sticking point for me right now is really it's doing the due diligence on their stablecoin protocol, ensuring that they are in a position to be collateralized and keep a peg and all of these things, and then just kind of figuring out the details of how we're going to do a raised distribution on the Lightning Network, which is kind of new to me. But I'm definitely interested in it, and I think there's major implications to this, and it's another massive third party raise that is on the table right now for the DAO. So if you look at where some of these other DAOs have gone, like I don't need to name them, but some of the ones that were big in the space like a year ago that were doing all these pre-sale raises, most of them are gone, and that's because they were raising capital for anyone that would allow them to raise capital for, because the developers were getting a share of the capital they raised, or the host of the DAO, whatever you want to call it, and they were just pumping out garbage. Where I have been super strict about who we raise capital for. I understand that if I'm raising capital for someone, I'm putting my reputation on the line, and I'm very serious about our integrity and our reputation, and making sure that if we're going to raise capital for something, it's something that I want to invest in, and it's something that I can be confident in. And this is why we've only had one third-party raise since the DAO started. We've done some in-house raises, which have all been extremely successful, but we've only had one third-party raise. But with the network that I've developed in the past, well, I guess you could say over my career, but for this specific, for specifically about raising for very high-quality projects, I've made some very good connections with some VCs recently, like in the past year, and we have a lot of deals on the table that we're looking